Hello and welcome back to the dramatic final of the 2021 Tata Steel Chess Masters. So what happened is that Anish Giri managed to hold his game to a draw, the classical game. So he finished together with Jorden van Forest with 8.5 points, and thus they were the two players who played the tiebreak. And well, very unfortunate for Alireza Firouzja, who was actually playing his game still, while they actually started the tiebreak, because Firouzja had no chance on catching these guys in terms of the like this additional calculation, so-called Sonnenberg points. So Alireza was still playing and thinking that if he wins, he will tie for first. However, the arbiter told him that well, you have no chance, and actually he even needed to move tables or move the board. So it was very unfortunate finish, and actually Alireza didn't even win his game. But now so go back to the tiebreak. So in this video I'm actually going to go through all the games that they played, actually quite fast. I'll just highlight the main points. So tiebreak is they are blitz games, and they play 2 blitz games with 5 minutes and 3 second increment, and if they are still tied after 2 games, so if it's 1-1, then they go for an Armageddon. So let's get started. First game, Jorden van Forest with the white pieces and Anish Giri with the black pieces. So it starts with e4, e5, and actually for the blitz game, Jorden goes for bishop c4 and offbeat opening a bit more, but Anish knows everything, so it was not a big deal for Anish. Some c6, knight f3, and actually these are all mainline theory still. Knight c3, bishop b4, takes. These moves were actually played super fast. Both players know this. a4, bishop e2, d takes e, knight takes e5, castle, queen e7. I will quickly go to the most interesting part. So now white has actually 2 bishops, but now comes knight bd7, and this bishop is actually just for the time being is quite active, but at some point it will be opposed by this other guy, and then the advantage will just evaporate. So comes bishop f4, knight d5, bishop queen d2, takes. So they started to simplify the position. However, so I want to reach this position. However, here white already is in a bit of trouble, because if you simplify for the ending, then Anish has a better ending. He's an incredibly good endgame player, and you really don't want to do that. So queen b4 was the move that Jorden van Forest chose. However, now the position starts to get very sharp. Comes rook b5, queen a4, queen takes c3. And the point is actually that now, first of all, you want to enter. So bishop b3 is more or less a must-play move. However, now comes a very unfortunate, very unpleasant move from Anish, just swinging the rook over, and all of a sudden the white king is in trouble. So you're obviously pinned here. There are very ugly moves coming, such as bishop h3, queen f3, even actually the immediate rook takes g2 is something you have to pay attention to. So now comes rook fe1. The point is that you would like to play queen e4, and that's the way you try to defend. After bishop h3, however, you are in a lot of trouble. So now the problem is if you play the move g3, then you cannot immediately play queen f3 because the white queen comes back. However, if you play this rook g4 intermediate move, taking away this square, the white queen goes somewhere, queen f3, and checkmate, and that's about it. And of course, losing the first blitz game with white in a tiebreak would be horrible. So now Jorden finds the only move, just a beautiful move, which is queen f4. So you're leaving this guy hanging, but you have a very big threat. You want to take here, but you also want to deliver checkmate into queen takes f7 and rook a8 checkmate. So now Anish also plays the best computer moves, rook takes g2, king h1. Now you are not only threatening to checkmate, but you also want to play, rook e3 is not possible, but queen e3, hitting this guy, and if you exchange, then this bishop is going to be in some trouble. So if you play h6, some passive move, then queen e3, rook e3, and this guy is hanging, and this guy is gonna be gone if you remove your bishop. So now there is only one move from black to defend against all this, which is g5, and the point is that queen e3, as the game goes, queen e3, rook e3, and now with g4 you can protect yourself. And here comes f3, and here is a fantastic winning move from Anish, for Anish actually, but he didn't find it. And the line starts just with g3, and if you take, then now you bring your other rook to the game. And there is rook d2 threatening. White can try to delay this, can play rook g1, but all that black wants is doubling on the second rank, rook f2. If you play rook d3, another sidestepping, and at the end of the day, these two rooks are going to appear and it's checkmate. But in a blitz game with 1.5 minutes on the clock, it's impossible to play like this. It's just computer can do. So after f3 came h5, takes, rook g1, and then the game fizzled out to a draw. Rook d8, rook e7. White is way too active, and this was the first game. This is a draw. So now we are moving to the second game actually. And in the second game, Anish is with the white pieces, and he again starts with e4. And this is actually, again, let me just quickly go for the ending. So they played again long theory, both players knew, very good theories, both of them, and they reached actually this ending where white is up a pawn. However, there are only major pieces left, and black would really like to just exchange the pawns, go for some rook ending, maybe win this pawn back. So it's not a huge advantage. However, here comes some lazy moves actually from black side. Queen c4, rook d8, and white managed to reach this ending. But here actually after a3, so you have a protected pass pawns, you have quite passive rooks, but you still have this pass pawn, and it looks quite uncomfortable. You would like to bring your king over and do something. However, Anish gets to be a bit too passive. He plays g3, rook b2, king g2, h4, and all of a sudden black has a very nice plan of drawing, put this rook on the third rank and win this pawn. And this is exactly what Jorden did. Rook b6, rook c2, rook f6, rook a2, rook f3, and that's about it. You win this pawn, and you are heading for the Armageddon. And yeah, you just take the pawns, and the players agreed to the draw. And now we are finally in the Armageddon. And here I will go a little bit slower, at least for the beginning. So in the Armageddon game, it's actually Anish Giri who is with the white pieces. So I can quickly change this one. So Anish against Jorden. So like this. And let's get started. So Armageddon game. White has 5 minutes, black has 4 minutes. However, black has drawn, so if the game is drawn, then black is the winner of the tournament. And they have increment after move 60. Very important to remember this, move 60. So Anish starts with d4, and they go the London system. And these moves were actually blitzed out incredibly quickly, given that the players don't have time. Bishop g3, h6. h6 seems like a rare move, but Jorden really did his homework. He really knew what to do. Comes bishop b5, bishop e7, knight e5, queen b6, a4, castle, castle, a6. And actually in this position the computer starts yelling that white is doing very well here. So you can take the pawn, take the knight. This is what happens. And there is a very computerish move, queen b3. It actually shows that black has problems with these pawns. And the thing is, if you take here, for example, after knight b3, this guy is hanging, and you have a trouble. Also, this guy is hanging. You have trouble defending, and even if you take cd4, there are actually multiple options here. You can probably just take this pawn, but even if you just enter this ending, this c6 is actually a huge issue. You're just gonna put your rooks on them to play knight a5, and white is just winning. But actually, you also have the intermediate knight takes c6 even. So c takes d. You even have knight c6 here. So yeah, so white is doing very well, but Anish missed this opportunity. He played d takes c5, bishop c5, b4, bishop e7, a5. So black's issue is, which is white's plan, is to really play on all these dark squares. And you have, as black, you have very little time to stop it. Comes queen b7, knight d3. Just control the c5 square, put the other knight there. Knight d7, knight b3. You can't push c5. You have this beautiful bishop here. And well, probably the best play here would be to play f6 and then push some e5. But Jorden starts to go very wrong. He plays a move queen b5, just gives a whole temp into knight d4 and queen b7. And now comes rook b1, very important move. You can't play c5 because then your queen is hanging. After knight f6, the knight jumps in, and the position is completely hopeless actually for black, at least it seems like. Now the rook enters. Actually, this is the position where where Anish started to think, maybe he started to feel like that he's winning and he's going to win the tournament, or I don't know, but he started to think he had like a minute advantage on the clock, the minute that he actually started out with, but now he just thought for like 30 seconds, which is a lot of time. And well, the most schematic move actually just to play f3, never allowed this guy to jump in, and then to just go for rook b6, take this guy and just win the game. But Anish started with rook b6, from knight e4, rook takes c6, you have to take the pawn, and after knight c3, your queen is hanging, comes queen c2, knight b5, rook b6, knight a3, and so black was jumping all around with his knight, and at this point Anish thought for again, I don't know, almost a minute or something, which was ridiculous, and he played the move c6, which just turned out to be a huge blunder. And actually, if you want, you can stop the video and find out why. So it's very simply, if you take on c2, not very simple actually, c takes d7, knight takes d4, and as white you think, oh, here it's an intermediate move, and then I'm taking back your knight. But black has actually knight e2 check, king h1, knight takes g3 check, you take back, and then just you take the rook, the queen, black is up a pawn, and that's all she wrote, black is gonna win the tournament. So for that reason, knight takes d4, Anish had to take it actually back, and to bishop d7, black is just up a pawn, there's opposite colored bishops, and normally you would say, I mean, in a classical game it would be drawn, in any game that has increment it would be also drawn, but this is a Armageddon game and white must win. So what happens here is just crazy quick moves. So both players less than 1 minute, they are at move 28, they have to make it to move 60 to get the 3 seconds increment. And I'm not going to show you all the moves, they were just moving back and forth. However, so white, I just jump here, white created some counterplay, black. So this is what I want to show you. So here, both players 15 seconds, they still have to make 12 moves. Here, black starts blundering with a pawn. Rook takes e6, king f7, rook e1, rook e7. As white, you have to keep the rook on. Rook c1, rook e4, king f3, bishop e2 check, king g3. Only seconds left on the clock, and these are the last seconds that are going to actually determine who is going to be the winner of the Wimbledon of Chess of Tata Steel 2021. Also, actually, the winner goes on this sort of Hall of Fame in Vacanze, where the tournament is played. So a lot at stake. Rook e3 check, king f2, rook e4, rook c7 check. Only few seconds left, and after g5, Jorden just blundered his bishop. King takes e2, f takes g5, and after rook a7 at move 58, Anish ran out of time, and he lost on time. So this is the dramatic finish of the Tata Steel tournament. Jorden van Forest is the winner. He just blundered his bishop, but it was not enough for Anish. He just lost on time. So yeah, and this is about it. A pretty crazy finish, I would say. Two Dutchmen are playing this tiebreak, so actually the Dutchies should be happy because they brought it home. However, not the one brought home that they actually expected. It's not Anish Giri. And yeah, it's just a crazy Armageddon. The second time Anish actually finishes second in a tiebreak. He once lost to Magnus Carlsen actually 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, that's actually it. So Jorden is first, Anish is second, and then the rest is actually less points, and Alireza and Caruana, actually even Yesipenko are tied for the third place. So yeah, that's about the tournament. And the next tournament, well, over the board is likely going to be just the candidates whenever they can continue. And for the time being, we're going to have online tournaments starting from next week. So see you then.